Now, if you want to shallow that club in transition, you've probably been told you need to get this club looking in this really flat position like this, and that's not really what's going on with shallowing. You actually don't have to get it anywhere like that, but if you shallow the way that I'm going to show you in this video and measure it the way that I'll show you in this video, it's going to be the same way that virtually every single tour player that's ever played has shallowed the club. Now, it all starts with setting up the camera in the right position. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show a swing of one of our certified instructors, Robin Rosado. He's our director of in-person instruction here in Orlando, and he's making a perfectly shallow swing in this one. This is very similar to what you'll see with Tiger Woods, Adam Scott, a lot of really great players, to where the club doesn't have this giant laydown. And we'll just break it down piece by piece, show you exactly what to do, and then how to get it more shallow if you're a little bit steeper. So when I set up to this golf ball, if I'm going to measure shallowing, I need to set up the camera to where it's shooting through my elbows toward the target. Now today, I don't have the camera set up like that, but in Robin's video, I do. Now even though there isn't a target in the distance, you're gonna imagine that you have a laser shooting out of your camera lens, and as you set up at address, it should shoot right through your elbow and hit the flag that you're aiming at. So your camera's gonna be roughly waist high. It's gonna be in line with your target to where your target, if you're looking from your camera's view, is or your elbow, if you're looking from your camera's view, is covering up the flag that you're aiming toward. That gets everything really good. Now, if you're too close to the person, so if I'm taking my video from here, everything gets really distorted. You actually want to go farther away, 10 or 15 feet behind you when you're filming, and then zoom in a little bit. That's going to make these angles so much clearer and easier to see. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm going to draw a line, what I call the shallowing line, the most important line here. And this is something that, let me go ahead and tell you what it is first and then how I came about it. So draw a line from the center of the golf ball, and at address, that's going to come up through the center of the right elbow. Now, as I gave thousands of lessons, online lessons, I always use pros. Lots of times I'd use guys like Tiger Woods, Adam Scott, best players in the world, right? Top 10, 15 players in the world. I usually try to use those swings. Now, I've reviewed almost every single PGA Tour player, and for a while, I did a swing review of everybody that won each week. Actually, for a few years I did that, and I noticed that they're all getting below this line. Now, it wasn't until Sasho McKenzie came out with a lot of his what's called kinetics of the swing and started talking about the importance of shallowing from actual scientific forces that are going in the club that it all made sense why they're shallowing. But I noticed that every single one of them was getting below that line. Once I paired up the science that I'm going to teach here in a second, it made it really common sense to why that's happening. So you draw a line from the golf ball up through the elbow, and what you'll see is in the backswing you'll see all this different stuff. Some people drag it inside, some people take it way back out here like a Matt Wolff or Jim Furyk. Some people are perfectly on plane as they're going back and through. So the backswing doesn't matter as much, but in the downswing what I found with all great players is that when the hands in the downswing got somewhere between chest high and waist high, or definitely by the time the club got below your head when we're looking from the down the line view, that club should be perfectly on that line or just slightly inside of that line. Actually, it could be a lot inside that line if you're someone like a Sergio Garcia who really lays it down. What I didn't see through doing tons and tons of reviews are professional golfers who got their club head on this side of the line. But when I looked at recreational golfers, they almost all got their club on that side of the line. So we're looking at a swing like this. We may at first say, well, that's a pretty swing, but that's not that shallow. That's perfectly shallow. This much inside of the line is fantastic. This much inside of the line is fantastic. But you got to get it on that side of the line. The club head has to get below that for the forces to really work. Now, when I'm talking about the forces here, if we can imagine, if I was to bring the club about halfway back with my left arm only, my right arm's not on the club, and I got this club shallower, the head way inside of that. And then I went ahead and just pulled down on this grip similar to what a golf swing would be. That club is going to kick forward. The club head is going to release, the momentum of the club is going to release, and it actually go toward the golf ball. So if I did this and I pulled down, it naturally goes very similar to what a golf swing would be. If I did the opposite of that and I took the club and put it on this side of my hands and did the same motion, all of a sudden it wants to fly in and hit my right leg. That's where the blocks to the right are coming from. That's where the face wanting to open up and the difficulty to get rid of the slice comes from. If you're struggling with blocks to the right, if you're a better player, you're hitting the blocks to the right, and then the next time the face wants to open up, it's a little steep, it wants to open up, and then I have to slam it shut and I snap hook one. Or if I'm more of an intermediate player, I'm a little steeper and I'm coming over the top, and this club face feels like it's very difficult to get it to close down and square up, and it's giving me a slice. Both of those, or all three of those scenarios, are coming from having this club head on the wrong side of the line. Once I get it on the inside of the line, as I simply pull through, notice the club head wants to square up under its own momentum. Notice how the club head wants to kick toward the golf ball. If I'm on this side of the line, as I swing down, the club face wants to open up and it wants to kick behind me, which means blocks to the right, snap hooks, or players as they start out compensate for that by trying to come more over the top and get the slice in there. So no matter what you do, got to get that club on the inside of the line if you're going to be consistent at golf. In fact, when you do, I can simply take one hand here and I can hit some pretty decent shots just one-handed. There we go. So 130 yards with a little one-handed 7-iron here. And because I get this club shallowed out and from the inside, it's pretty easy for me to control the face. So I can hit a lot of shots like that without having to feel like I'm manipulating the club. I'm not some kind of super athlete. I'm just getting the club a little bit shallower from the inside. Now, here's a couple tricks to be able to get it shallow. Number one, I want to set up with a little bit of spine tilt. I don't want to be leaning to the left because that's going to get my club wanting to come this way. I'm going to get a little bump to the inside. I'm going to feel like my nose is behind the golf ball. And from there, I'm going to feel like my hands and arms are a little bit deeper as I go back. And I'm going to feel like my club, as I come down, is coming well from the inside. And I'm almost going to hit like a little top spin inside out, the feeling of having a little top spin inside out forehand. So if I'm steeping over the top, I'm coming over this way and hitting on top of the ball. I want to feel like I let that club shallow out and I'm hitting this way around the ball. Now, if you're already a better player and you're from the inside, then what you may be doing there is getting that little inside move, but the club shaft is still steep and maybe that club is still barely over the line. So you try to get your arms deeper, but the club's still coming down this way and it's not really getting the forces the way we want them. For players like that, what I recommend is feeling like the hands come down a little bit more square. I don't want to loop the hands way inside. The hands are going to come down square. I'm just going to open the palm a little bit more. So as you're coming down, let the hands and arms swing back and forth on plane like this. But if I want to get that club a little shallower, all I'm going to do is have the palm open slightly to get that club head a little below what would be the shallowing line. So I'm going to feel like on my backswing, that palm opens, and then from there, I'm going to go ahead and close that palm and release that palm through the shot. All right, so let's give it a whirl here. There we go, and I'm not going to hit a 7-iron any better than that. Man, crush that thing, 190 yards on the carry, 197 total distance, and a nice tight little draw like that. So that's the real shallowing. If you're trying to get it way in here like this, that's way overdone. You don't have to do that much. Now, there's a second piece of this that can really hurt your shallowing, and that's rushing the downswing. See, if you feel like you're super quick from the top and you're just yanking on this club, it's happening so fast you can't even feel the club head shallow out. Well, I'm going to play one of my best videos to eliminate rushing the downswing, to smooth out that transition so that you can feel the club head and you can feel it coming from the inside, and this gets a whole lot easier. All you need to do is go ahead and click the card that pops up on your screen. If you don't see that card, go ahead and click the link down below in the description. Both will give you instant access to that video. Let's go and get started. Now the bottom line is that if you pull this club down to ring that bell or pull the hands more from the inside, what's going to happen is you start to rush your downswing from that pulling, and that can throw off your sequence. And we all know that once your sequence gets off, that is going to be the root cause of all your problems. Now, maybe you're being outdriven way too often, or you're terribly inconsistent with your strikes. Some of your shots are heavy, some of them are thin, some of them are off the toe, and then the next ones are way off the heel. Now you end up way over in the trees, you're in the tall grass, or maybe even the hazards all day long, and it really comes down to this. Clay, how in the heck do we fix it? Well, there's some good news. Well, there's only two things that you need to learn. First, you need to learn to shallow the club rather than pulling the hands down and getting the shaft in this steep position. You see, there's another way that the pros do this, and once you start to get that club on this shallower plane, more from the inside, then you pair that up with the right way to square the club face. And once you put these two things together, everything starts to fit in your swing. Now your buddies will start to get a little bit jealous because you'll start hitting solid, longer drives, time after time, and round after round. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the E-slot technique. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and take a swing to the top and get in a really good position. I want you to feel like your weight is mostly shifted to your right side and that your hips and shoulders are nice and free. I don't want to be locked up here. I want my knees to move, my hips to move. That's going to allow me to swing my shoulders very nicely. Now, one thing that most people get wrong when they swing to the top is they don't get this tilt away from the target. So instead of being straight up and down or leaning to the left, I want to be slightly tilted away in what I call the stable fluid spine in my topspeed golf system. Okay, so now that you're at this great position at the top of the swing, what I want you to do is instead of pulling those arms straight down or ringing the bell, that's going to get the club shaft steep and get this elbow kind of flapping behind your body. I want you to do something very specific. I want you to take the tip of your elbow and move it in a specific way. Now, not this small bone on the inside of your elbow, but I want it to be right here at the tip, and here's what I want you to do.